Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Brewing Business Show. This is a space dedicated to the craft beer industry and entrepreneurs who wants to learn more about mindset, health, wealth, business, and of course, beer. I'm your host, Pedro Meneses, and before we start, I just want to make sure you buckle up, crack open a cold one, and get ready to hear some life-changing information. Cheers. So welcome back everybody to episode 17 of the Brewing Business Show. If you're a first timer, be sure to check out the previous episodes and do me a great favor and leave me a review on iTunes so you can help more people to find the show. And today, guys, I have the honor to have on the show a 3-time Emmy Award winning videographer and motion designer. He's also the owner of Full Pour Media, a full service creative agency based in Denver, Colorado, that focuses on marketing and content creation for the craft brewing and distilling industries. Before starting his company, he worked in TV news for 8 years as a videographer, where he won all his awards for video and editing. He has a passion for creative storytelling through video and to make content creation easy for breweries and distillers. And today, he's here in the show to share his story, expertise, talk about everything you need to know about video, content, marketing, and of course, beer. So welcome to the show, Bryant. It is a pleasure to have you here, brother.
Buddy, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good, man. What are you drinking today?
This is Pliny the Elder. I picked it up at the beer store up the street for me. A little Russian River, so it's out there in California, and it used to be a lot more of a commodity out here, but luckily it's becoming a lot more prevalent. So really good, really good beer.
Yeah, it is really good beer. I used to live in Reno, so we had access to a lot of beer from California, so I have tried that one. It's really good, man. But anyway,
San Francisco in January, and it was like the first time that I'd been out there since I was of drinking age, a long time. It blew my mind when there was like Pliny on tap. Like that doesn't really happen out here. It's such a rare bottle thing. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna have 1 or 2 of those out there. So it was awesome.
That's great, man. I'm glad to hear. Enjoy it. But anyway, man, let's jump in right in the show. I know people might I've been expecting about this episode today, and I know you're gonna share a lot of good stuff when it comes to marketing and video. But why don't you take us a little back in your story and share more about where you're coming from? How do you get to this point? A little about your experience. So go ahead and share with us your story, man.
Yeah, for sure. So you kind of alluded to, I have about 8 years experience as a TV news videographer. That was really what I went to college for. And when I really started out, if you would have come to me in 2011, I would have thought I wanted to retire a TV news photographer, and just really liked it. I liked kind of the run and gun kind of thing. But, as I got older and got married and I don't want to say slowed down because, I'm still kind of going, but just matured a little, it just starts to wear on you, just that life. It's a really fast paced life and everything. And just creatively, there wasn't a ton of, creative outlets for me. Moving to Denver, however, was probably one of the better creative moves as far as my TV news career. Denver's known as a storytelling market. You've got 9 News, who's a pretty heavy storytelling station. And then I worked at the Fox affiliate out here, Fox 31, and they were also and still are a really good storytelling station. I mean, they do long form feature pieces and were really focused on awards. And so I had a couple good mentors within that station who really taught me and sort of helped sharpen my creative sword, and was lucky enough to win bunch of awards, the highest of which being my 3 Emmys. So that's always been a real good passion of mine, is creating good content and telling great stories. It's just I like to say it's in my blood,
That's awesome, man. I mean, the fact that you got some awards like the Emmys, means that you have a lot of experience under your belt, and definitely it is a proof that hard work always pays off, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, some of just more of a passion project too, right? You're not always going to get time in TV news world to cut together a 4-minute piece during the day. So you kind of have to go at night or, on the weekends on your free time. And that's really, it's worth it to me, kind of like you said, because that is the outcome is you have this piece that you love and you're really happy about. And, I still am friends with the people I shot stories about to this day. And so just those connections and the things I've learned in TV news, I carry on into the future for sure. There's a ton of really solid people, a ton of really solid learnings that I took from that.
Absolutely, which I believe it is a great time for you, because that experience actually makes you someone very very knowledgeable in this time where everything is about content creation, everything is about how to reach more people through social media and all that kind of stuff, which I believe that's the reason why you created Full Pour Media. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Just being in what I call a target-rich environment. In Colorado, there's four. I mean, 2 years ago there were about 400 breweries in the state, and you look on these websites for breweries that are still about to be built, and there's 30, 50 more, and just within Denver alone, there's almost 200. So half of the breweries in the state are located within. I'm just talking about Denver, right? I'm not even talking about Aurora. I'm not talking about all the suburbs, just Denver. And it just kind of got me thinking that, friends sitting around and say, hey, what do you want to go to a brewery? Sure, yeah. What do they? I mean, they most of the time just look on their phone and, oh, here's the closest one, or this is our neighborhood one, and they go there. And to some extent, there's really not a ton of differentiation, of brand differentiation between the different breweries, and they're all unique, right? They all offer so many awesome things and backstories, and some are veteran owned, and some are all women owned, and they give to charity, and they all have their own unique flavor, but there's nothing really setting them apart. They have their Instagram feeds and Facebook followers, etc., but they sort of all start to blend together. And so that was the real impetus behind starting Full Pour, was to work on making content creation easier for these guys. I mean, they're great at their craft. Their craft is craft brewing. They make great beer.
Right.
I'm great at my craft. We're the people of Full Pour, we're great at our craft, which is storytelling, which is design. So that is the goal right now of Full Pour, is to make content creation a heck of a lot easier for these guys who already have enough to deal with on their business side. We're here to help on the creative side.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just mentioned something right now very important. It is about how you differentiate your brewery from the rest of the breweries in your area, in the country, whatever you are located, right? And I think that's very important. And I want to talk to a little bit more about that right now, because in previous episode, we were mentioning about how important it is to know who's your perfect target audience, and why it's important to know your core values, and why it's important to know exactly what message are you going to put out there. But then that's when you come in and you put that message and you help differentiate that message out there. So talk to us a little bit more about the foundation of how important it is to be different, especially in social media, in the market right now.
Man, it's everything, really. I have taken so many business coaching classes that say, find your niche, really get into your niche. That was part of the reason, Full Pour exists, is to get into that niche. Breweries are the same way. I mean, every business technically is the same way. They're all in their niche. And kind of like I alluded to earlier, a veteran-owned brewery would attract a different maybe type of crowd, or maybe somebody down the street doesn't even know that veteran-owned brewery is a veteran-owned brewery. They just think it's a brewery, and they themselves are veterans, so they have this idea, or I'm sorry, this shared experience between them that they don't. The brewery's not advertising necessarily, and the customer is not necessarily aware of. So there's a ton of potential. I don't want to call it missed potential yet, because it's still out there. You can still tell that story. But there's a ton of potential to differentiate yourself besides just, hey, we have a new hazy. This is a barrel aged stout. Okay. I was talking with a friend of mine too, that the guy down the street's got a barrel aged stout too. The brewery down the road as well. They're working on a new sour as well. You're all within a quarter mile, maybe a half mile of each other.
Right.
You're all going to start to look the same. You're all sort of white noise until you find something, and until you find your niche, your hook. And that's really what my focus is right now, is talking to these breweries and really getting that part out of their backstory, so that they can capitalize on that the best way possible.
One of the things that I believe is very important, I know probably people that follow the show since the beginning of it, probably is like, you guys always talking about narrowing down your audience and all that kind of stuff. But like you said, it's everything, like if you don't know exactly who you're talking to, like you're just going to waste your money. You're just going to waste your time, your efforts, your resources, everything that you can implement to attract more people into your brewery. You're just going to waste it. So it is not about being insisting too much into yeah, you need to know who you're talking to. You need to know who's that perfect client. You need to know what message you want to put out there. It's just something that if it's not defined correctly, anything else, it doesn't really matter. Would you agree?
And it's to their credit, they make good beer. That's what they
Yeah.
do, and they're especially out here, and I'm sure that this is true everywhere. Brewers create breweries because they're good at making beer.
Right.
They have, and I've noticed, picked up on a lot of this mentality of, I like beer, I make beer, I'm gonna create a storefront and sell beer. People will come because I sell the beer, and to an extent that is true, yes, but there again is so much more potential opportunity there. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said too, uh, they're good at their craft. You're good at your craft. I'm good at my craft. And these are here are two example of how important it is to narrow things down. Like, for example, you explain how Full Pour Media was born because you were focusing on these breweries that they didn't have any distinction in the marketplace, right? Like before I started my company, I was doing like lead generation and helping real estate agents and business all over the place until it was like, no, I need to stop doing this and focus on one thing because I'm all over the place. And that's how the marketing brewing company started, just focusing in the craft beer industry. Eventually, when you start growing, you're going to attract more people and different audiences and different markets. But the point is to start on one place and then you diversify from there.
I mean, that's Chipotle. That's how they started. It wasn't burritos, tacos, quesadillas, empanadas, this and that. It was burritos. It was
Right.
They did the one thing well, and then they moved beyond and beyond. And there's time and time. Amazon, is another perfect example of it, and that's scalable. It's scalable all the way from Amazon to the distillery who's going to open next month. It applies to everybody for sure. I went through the same thing with Full Pour. 2 years ago at GABF, I was handing out flyers that just said, it was advertising my services, but it wasn't Full Pour. It was just Bryant Vander Weerd. And it was just like, it didn't lend as much authority or credentials to it
Right.
as much as I already had those credentials, as much as I still had 3 Emmys, as much as I still had a team of designers behind me. I wasn't Full Pour Media until this year, basically, is when we really started getting going. So yeah, scale that to breweries too. You're the brewery who is all female owned and they donate to charity. Holy crap, that's awesome. That's what I like. I like charity. Let me head to that brewery, and I'm going to pick, that person's going to drive past 3 other breweries and 2 other distilleries to get to the brewery that they know gives to charity because that brewery has told their story well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is interesting how for the past couple of weeks, in the show and with other people that I've been talking to, like most conversations are around this, are around like how we need to start selling more beer, how we can start attracting more people, because I think we're in a point in time right now where it is time to pivot. It is time to, okay, let's start focusing on the business part, right? Because you can make the best beer in the world, but if you don't promote in that stuff, I mean, nobody's going to buy it, right? So
You've got like cult followings, like Pliny the Elder has somewhat of a cult following that unless you get lucky enough, you ain't going to get a cult following by having a stout and a hazy and a Hefeweizen. It's you're going to be noise.
absolutely. Now, let's move a little bit more forward because, again, we already know you need to establish who you are. You need to break that noise, just not putting a bunch of messages out there that doesn't even make any sense to your audience, right? Now, I want to hear your opinion when it comes to the landscape right now in the industry. Like, what do you think is the main pain points when it comes to the brewers creating their marketing campaigns or putting their content out there? What do you think are their struggle the most?
So I've heard a couple different things. I talked about 2 years ago at Great American Beer Fest. I went around and I was just talking to brewers, and I actually asked them that exact question: is what is your biggest pain point? I went to breweries in Colorado and breweries in Nevada and breweries in Ohio, and content creation. That was one of the biggest things. Is they kind of have an idea of what they want to do, but they don't. It's just kind of like, yeah, let me post this real quick, and let me fire this off real quick, and just not donating enough time, dedicating enough time to putting thought into content and planning content, and it comes across that way. If your Instagram feed if you're posting at random, it's going to look random. If your Instagram feed is collected and uniform, it's going to look that way, and you're going to come across a lot more professional. So that's one, is content creation. Another is I've just heard a lot of, I don't want to say fear, but just concern about price. I think there's a stigma out there of, oh, we're a little guy, you know, we're located in South Denver, we're located in South whatever city, we don't have $10,000 to spend on a video.
Right.
While I admire that, you know, that I think there's, you know, in the creative world, there's a lot of people who think, oh, a video should be $500, a video should be $300. It's only 30 seconds. But there are people out there who, you know, are charging a ton of money. There's also people out there who aren't charging a ton of money. You know, there's people out there who are just as passionate about their video craft as you are about your brewing craft or your distilling craft. So there is a little bit of hesitation of like this notion that I have to spend $8,000 on a video, I have to spend $10,000 on it. Some of the best video content I've seen is the owner of the business just walking around, you know, the brewery tap house, talking to people, or they'll just take a photo of their employees and do employee profiles. Or nowadays with COVID, the virtual has just blown up. You know, people are so forgiving now of low quality video, quote unquote, that is just like live streamed from a phone or live streamed from a Zoom call, that you can get so much value to your customers who don't even live in your state by just doing a virtual happy hour, doing a virtual tasting. I posted an Instagram carousel a month or so ago about that exact breweries and distilleries here in the state who are really, really taking advantage of that, especially in this quarantine. So it doesn't have to be top notch. You know, we're here to make the top notch video, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Video period is a scroll stopper. Video period is something that's going to draw your attention, consumers' attention a lot more. And people want to see more video from brands that they support. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if you know who's Frank Kern, but he is a marketer, very well-known marketer, and he actually talks about, or his system is called intent-based branding. And one of the things that he talks about is how, like you were saying, like video from your phone, you know, can have more engagement than a whole studio video, because, you know, we are in a point in time where people are more familiar or more attracted to the natural stuff, to more like humanized content, you know, where like it's not all set up, but it's just someone talking like a normal person on a video, you know, and that can have a huge impact on how people, or how much people you attract to your brewery.
You know, social video is shared far more than social photos on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever. It's just, people engage with it more. Every time I post something on my Full Pour Media Instagram feed, even though, you know, I'll try and make it like a video background with text in front of it. So it's not just a still background with still text. It's just something that gets just a little bit more catching people's eyes. You know, it's all about that,
right.
That scroll in, and you got like 3 seconds to make an impact. Something that came to mind when you were just talking about that is I have a friend down in the Springs who does marketing for Lost Friend Brewing. And she was kind of talking about how most of her employees are camera shy. You know, again, you're a server, you're a brewer, you ain't, Bob Barker, you know, you're not a TV host. So I can understand people are a little camera shy, etc. She went out and did like a time lapse of the moon setting over out here. Obviously we got really pretty mountains. So she did the moon setting, posted that, you know, and it was something to promote a new brew that they had out. It doesn't need to even be in the brewery. In fact, I support getting out of the brewery, go to a river, go to a stream somewhere, and just set the can down, set the bottle down, and just get a still video. So there's wind blowing and things like that. Like I said, we're here to make great video for distilleries and breweries, but it doesn't always have to be that way. You know, video is great regardless of type.
No, you know, we're talking about all this, but that doesn't mean, like you said, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't implement like a more professional video
Sure.
content, or any other type of content out there. Like, having someone who can write good copy for your offers and can get more clicks on your posts and get to convert more followers and likes into people buying beer at the tap room or your online menu and all that kind of stuff. But it is a foundation to make a successful marketing campaign on your social media, especially. And one of the things that people, I believe, needs to understand. Yeah, 20 years ago, like you said, you were paying thousands of dollars for 30 seconds of TV commercial or something, or in the radio or some stuff like that. But when you change your perspective, and you realize that your social media is your own TV channel. That's what it is.
There you go. Yep.
We're doing this video right now live, right? And after it's gonna go to a podcast and to a YouTube channel. So I have different channels that I'm seeing it as my own TV channel, So
Yep.
when you start seeing things from that perspective, then you can start getting creative or what else you can create out there. But again, it's not about just creating a bunch of stuff. It's that you need to know who you want to talk about, right? Now tell me, I know that a lot of people said, yeah, but I don't know how to use my phone and all that kind of stuff. Right? It is it's always some sort of excuse, right? Let's say that somebody wants right now and said, like, you know what, I like what this guy is sharing about making some videos and all that kind of stuff. What would be some basic steps that you can recommend to somebody who wants to start trying to, for example, even do just the IG stories, for example? That's huge right now. It creates a lot of engagement. Let's say that they want to know how you can use them better, some tricks and tips that they can implement right away without having to have all this knowledge about video marketing.
Yeah. And some of the things that really come to mind in that are things that I've learned, because creatives as well are known for being more introverted as well. We just kind of want to sit in our cave and make pretty photos, edit our videos, and us getting out, creatives getting out into the world on social media is a big thing as well. So anyone out there who's camera shy or doesn't necessarily know where to start, I feel your pain. I mean, I was there as well. The biggest thing that I've learned through coaching and through my years of doing this, start small. You don't have to, no one has to even be in the video. It's just maybe a walkthrough of an empty, scrolling past all the brew tanks, just scrolling past the stills, the liquor stills. Just if you have a busy tap room day, just roll video on that. Just start really small and get a lot more comfortable with hitting record as opposed to, going through and finding the best filter, the best photo filter, etc. Just start getting used to that. I call it gritty, but it's just that, off the cuff, off the shoulder real quick. This is how it is. And that's where my news background kind of comes in as well, as
right.
Just news photographer, news videographer, shooting something how it is. If the building is a little dirty, that's how it was when that's how it was when, customers are going to see it that way, or the taps aren't quite set up yet. What have you. People love seeing that stuff. I think a lot of people are just a little overly hard on themselves, or they don't want to show their brewery in a bad light, which I understand. I mean, there's something to be said too about presenting yourself well to the customers, but just start small, man. I mean, start with short videos, start with one selfie, or start with one shot of the owner or something, and then kind of build yourself up a little bit at a time, expanding on that. I talked about stepping out of the brewery and learning to sort of set up your own scene. If you have a river next to you, it's getting on summertime. Obviously we're doing a little more social distancing right now, but people are still going to the lakes. People are still going to rivers. Take a 6-pack, take a couple crawlers to a river and shoot just some basic video. No people in it, not you in it. Just get out there and try it. Starting small and working your way up really is the best way to sort of get comfortable with making video. Soon enough you're gonna be making video a full-time thing.
That's completely true. I experienced the same thing, man. English is not my first language. So I was scared at the beginning doing videos, doing a podcast and doing lives and all that kind of stuff, because what if I fucked it up? It's like, what if I say something that people don't understand? But eventually how to break through that noise and how to break through that fear, man. And I'm more comfortable than ever doing videos. I just grab my phone and just start recording something. And I don't even care anymore if it goes well or not, because even that little mistakes that you can make sometimes can make someone laugh and even create more engagement with your video, you know? And like you were saying, like you can use your employees too. They might be camera shy, but if they're using TikTok, I promise you they're not camera shy anymore.
Right. Yep. And there's Rice is Brewing here in Denver is the TikTok king right now. They're all over TikTok and they're sharing their TikToks to Instagram, and they don't, not a ton of them have, more than like the owner in them. It's just goofiness and things to build up your following. That's what's really important is your viewers aren't going to be critiquing how good or how bad your tap room looks or how shaky the video is. They're just going to be liking it. They're going to be enjoying seeing, they're going to build more brand familiarity. They're going to build, feel like they're watching updates from a friend. And then once they're a friend, you're a lot more top of mind in their mind. Hey, where do you want to go? 5 seconds ago, this person was scrolling and they saw, let's say Rice is Brewing on their Instagram feed. Where do you guys want to go? Let's go to Rice is Brewing. You're top of mind. You're right there because you're putting out all this content. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. And really the sooner we can all, I struggle with it too, the sooner we can all kind of get over that, the better off our feeds are going to be and the better off our customer response is going to be for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that the way I see our conversation right now, basically we're talking more about everything that it can be organic, something that everybody can do it right now. They can implement it right away. They don't need to hire someone like you or me. They can start doing all this kind of stuff. So I believe organic content, it is fundamental for any campaign or to attract people into your brewery. However, I believe that it's very, very important also to invest in something that can help you take your name even further. Because you can have organic content, and like you said, they can get good at it, but their craft is making beer, not video, or not running ads on Facebook, or building a whole system or a whole ecosystem to generate subscribers and get all that cycle of people coming back over and over into your brewery. So let's get more into the technical part of your services as a videographer.
Really? Yeah, absolutely. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but I'm going to go back to that brewery who is female owned and they donate to charity. Lady Justice Brewing out in Aurora on East Colfax. They're a new client of mine, and I had the pleasure of meeting them a couple weeks ago. And earlier this week, went and shot a video, a full-on, marketing sizzle video at their place. Things that really they couldn't do, right? A lot more professional lighting and a professional interview. About halfway done editing it right now. And it's really bringing their interior message to life a lot more. Longer form marketing videos, sizzle videos, really are that undercurrent of the brand voice that you're really trying to push to the public. And then those small videos are kind of ancillary or supporting bits along the way. They're also they're women owned and they're gay friendly, so they did a bunch of pride stuff. I didn't put any pride things in the video. It was more about the women owned and charity, etc. But they had a ton of supporting social media content during Pride this past weekend, just because it added little tiny bits to their brand voice. But exactly, you're right on the money, man. Like that core video content, that core marketing content is something that I can help develop, that I know people that can help develop. A lot of people just start a brewery because they have a couple really good recipes. There's no real brand voice. There's no real brand focus, and their business suffers of it. And there are people out there, yourself, me, plenty of others out there who I've made friends with, been privileged to know over the years that's their main job. I don't know how to brew beer, but I know how to tell an awesome story. Excuse me. So enlisting the help of other people that aren't necessarily servers, aren't necessarily brewmasters, who can help you develop your brand, who can help you develop logos and packaging, is really going to make your business level up. And it's going to separate you from, because while social content is good, pretty much everybody's doing social content, right? The 3 breweries on downtown city are doing social content. The breweries and the distilleries and the businesses in general who are succeeding a lot more are investing in video. They're investing time into developing other sides of their brand that aren't necessarily beer based. It's more just, here's what we're all about, here's what we stand for, here are our core values, etc. Those are important. I mean, those are things that, again, you don't have to have, but I'm going to imagine people don't get into business just to kind of survive and do okay. Everybody gets into business, they want to excel. Video, professionally done video, is one of the best ways I know to really help your brand excel. Think about Odell Brewing here in Fort Collins. Think about, Great Divide, New Belgium. Think about, go to, Kansas City, there's Boulevard. I'm from the Midwest, so I can only name a few. I can't name like the East Coast beers, but those are the brands that are really taking off. And it's not because they got enough money and now they're investing in video. It's because they invested in video that they have a lot more capital, right? It's a chicken or the egg kind of thing. It's not really, one might lead to the other. It's investing now in your brand, investing in your brand voice, developing that to look a lot more professional will pay off tenfold. I mean, there's been studies done, throughout a couple of years ago, 99% of just people who are using video to market will use video into the next year. I believe that was 2019 into 2020. Coronavirus might have shut that down a little bit, but the message is clear, right? Maybe it drops to 95%. But the message, right. People who are using video now are gonna use it later. I mean, there's no ifs about it. It's 95 to 99% of people who are already using it. So I hear a lot of hesitation from the smaller businesses about, I don't necessarily want to spend, and I get it. You're a small business. You only have a certain amount of money. You don't have the marketing budget of Miller Coors or whatever. Mm-hmm. But is it really worth it to not do it? That's what's going to set you apart, right? 3 guys down the street also have Instagram feeds, and they also kind of do the exact same thing. But this guy right here has weekly video content. They do weekly tastings with, Bear Creek Distillery here in town does they started over the quarantine. They do weekly videos on, here's how to make an old fashioned with Bear Creek bourbon and Bear Creek this and that. And it's promoting your brand. It's doing something that the other guy isn't. That's why you got into business anyway, right? Because you believe that you're doing something that the other guy isn't. So let's work together. Let's talk to some professionals who are great at selling that story, who are great at telling the story, selling that content, and just see where it goes. It's an expense that I believe is worth taking, making.
I 100% support what you were saying. Not because we are in the same industry and we have different services that we can offer, but I totally agree with you. And I think one of the main issues that I have seen in the industry is that the small mentality. Like you just said, like if you start a business, it's because you want to be financial free, right? Or because you want to leave a legacy for your family, want to provide for your community. You want to have money in your pockets. That's why you start a business. But if you don't understand that, in order for you to grow a business, you have to invest in your business and marketing, video marketing, and doing content creation and all that kind of stuff. It shouldn't be an expense for your business. It should be an investment, because you should expect a return on investment on those kind of things. So it is important to understand that, because if you're not willing to invest in your business, like your business is not going to grow. If you're not willing to understand that you have a business to run, you don't own a business, you own a job. That's what it is, and and we have to start being so real about this in the industry, because if we don't talk about these things, man, if we're not it's great to talk about the video content and little things that they can do to start implementing some organic stuff. Like hire your professionals like you, that I know that you can do a great job for them, like you've been doing for these clients that you've been talking about. But if you're not willing to invest in that in your business, don't expect that your business is going to grow, So,
and there has been, a little bit of, hesitance. And again, I get it, because that's how craft breweries get started. They're scrappy underdogs, and they got that way because they were lean and mean, especially in coronavirus times, a lot of them didn't make it just because they didn't have a viable plan or they didn't have enough capital, whatever the reason was. They're, but by and large, these breweries are surviving and they're thriving because they're scrappy, right? And distilleries pivoted, a lot of them pivoted to hand sanitizer, so there's that will to survive, quote unquote. It's just, I see a lot of hesitance to kind of move into video. And really that just comes down to, it's my job and your job to sort of sell that value of video to everybody, which I believe this does, a really great job. And, thank you for having me on. I know we ain't done yet, but that's why I appreciate, the ability to sort of get on my soapbox and preach my message, is because I feel that the people who run these breweries make great beer, but don't necessarily see a ton of value yet in video marketing, or in SEO, or in what have you. And that's okay. Like I said, they started small, but I feel like we're at this sort of like tipping point right now where things are starting to expand. People are starting to see the value in video a lot more.
Yeah, I see this recent pandemic. I see it as a blessing, because I know that it's hard, that a lot of people are suffering their businesses, and their health and all that stuff. But man, life keeps going. And it's been a great eye-opening for a lot of industries. And I believe it's been a great eye-opening for the craft beer industry, and start looking more into like the online world, like online menus and beer to go, and how people can actually start buying more beer online, and how selling beer online can become even your greatest stream of revenue for your brewery, right? But if that's what you want as a goal for your brewery, you need to start implementing different strategies. And during the pandemic, everybody, even after the past 4 months, everybody sticks to their screens. Still at this point, because not everybody's going out yet. E-commerce is high for like 108% or something like that. Video content, I know I've been getting a couple emails. I think last week I read something about how high engagement is video content becoming right now. So talk to us a little bit about what you've been seeing for the past couple of weeks, and how the video content is getting more and more engagement on social media.
Yeah. It goes back to that people are starting to forgive, or just be a lot more accepting of amateur video. I attended a couple different beer festivals, brewer conferences that were all virtualized. And I'll admit it's not as awesome as being there in person, or, getting to network with people, other than in a chat room. It's a little weird. But that's where we're moving. I mean, it is where we're moving. It's how I mentioned Bear Creek. It's how Bear Creek they gained my attention through that, and if I'm one person, how many other people did they gain their attention by just hosting live tastings? Denver Beer Company used to do, I don't know if they still do them, but during the pandemic, live Friday happy hours. And again, a way for, you don't even have to live in Denver. You can live in Florida. You can live, in Mexico, in Africa, wherever, and you can tune in and you can be brand loyal at that time. It's breaking down borders, quote unquote. It's making the world a lot smaller. All those cheesy internet sayings that we say, video, live video, streaming video is freaking changing everything right now, for sure.
Yeah. And that's where most platforms are transitioning to more video, So
right.
that was exactly what I read. How I think it was I don't know who it was, some research. I think it was from YouTube or something, and how other platforms are also turning into more video platforms. So that means that you need to start learning.
I had mentioned, so Animoto did a survey, and that was in 2018. I'm looking at right now. I know Oberlo, there's a bunch of them. I can post some links. Yeah, Oberlo.com. Yeah, man, like a ton. I know like Cisco did one. Yeah, you're right. YouTube. It's all over the place, and the numbers don't lie. They're there for a reason. Video is where we're at right now.
Absolutely. So I'm glad you're sharing all this, because I think this keeps helping this show and the people listening to the show right now or in the future, to understand how important it is to expand our minds, because again, even that you might not have the goal to be a huge microbrewery, right? But you still have the goal to create good income for you and your family, right? So
Right. And if
that's what is.
yeah, and if you can do anything to make your income a little bit better, wouldn't you do it? You know, and it's, again, it goes back to that value. It's proving that value of video and other things.
Yeah, and investing, that's I think that's the switch that have to be made in people's mind. It's not spending in your business. You're not spending because you're gonna see a return on investment. You are investing in your business so you can grow your sales, have more cash flow, and even expand your brewery. So thank you for sharing all this, man. I think it has been great information right now. So tell us a little bit more about besides like video content creation and all that stuff. What other stuff you are planning right now with Full Pour Media?
Sure. I like to say that I am the creative arm of, the marketing world. I don't necessarily have a ton of experience in SEO, but I got a network. I got friends, I got people who I know. So Full Pour right now, like I said, is content creation. So it's video. So whether it's an event at your brewery, we can go cover that and just put together a short 30-second, minute, whatever video. There's the sizzle, more of the brand voice video that I was talking about with Lady Justice Brewing. We will do packaging design, label design, any kind of graphic design. You're talking about digital menus, things like that, as well as photography. iPhone photography, Android phone photography, cell phone photography is good. We can knock out some professional photography. I'm going to go up this weekend and shoot some like variety pack up in the mountains a little bit, and just, like I said, get out of the city, get out of the brewery a little more. So we have the tools to photograph and take video in a really high-end way to really set your business apart.
Absolutely. Now, I think we're almost an hour in here, so we're gonna start wrapping this up very soon here, man. But anyway, so we've been talking about all this video content creation and all that kind of stuff. I know that you have mentioned a lot about how this is gonna keep growing, but if there's anything else that you see in the future right now coming for the industry, what is your opinion about what we can expect in the next 6 months of the year? I mean, we are about to start the second half of the year, so I'm preparing myself to a whole new strategy and start something new. I'm sure you are too. So I would like to hear your opinion about what, based on your experience in the things that you know and the things that you do with video and the results that you provide to your clients, what people can expect from the next 6 months from your perspective.
From my perspective, provided there's not like a second, I'm going to act like there's a world where there's not a second wave of coronavirus, whatever. Let's pretend that, everything goes back to by Christmas. You're going to still see virtualization. You're still going to see video, like I said, live video. You're still going to see virtual tastings and happy hours, things like that. Within the next, 6 months to a year, I would even be so bold as to maybe like pull it out to like 5 years. I would like to say like within 5 years, just this idea of video and marketing in general is going to catch on a lot more. I mean, in the beginning, craft beer canning was a laughable, distributors wouldn't entertain the idea of craft beer in a can. And, Oscar Blues came along and Oscar Blues has been around for a while, but, Oscar Blues came out with, the Crowler and everything else. And that started picking up, but people laughed at craft brewing canning. So to some extent, I really feel like marketing is in that kind of initial, brewery marketing is in that initial phase right now where people are like, why do I need that? I'm good without it, kind of thing. So I would say within 5 years, we're really going to see a big separation between those who do video marketing and those who don't. Within a year, man, it's definitely going to be a lot more of that smaller video, a lot more people starting small, a lot more people doing virtual tastings and happy hours and virtual tours. People freaking love tours and they never get underneath the barrel room. Oh my God, they're going live right now and they're going to the barrel room. Like, this is awesome. There is going to be a lot more within a year, just a lot more of that, a lot more amateur, brewery owners and brewmasters walking around, or you get to meet the owner of this, this brewery or what have you. So that, I believe, is definitely going to take off in the next year. It's more than it already has, for sure.
Absolutely. And just to add a little bit to what you're saying, man, I feel the craft beer industry right now is in the same stage that, for example, the real estate industry was back in 2007 and 8, where everybody will
Okay.
laugh at you. They will tell you like you can sell homes on Facebook. Everybody will laugh at your face. It was like, are you stupid? Like how you cannot find leads on social media? That was the real estate industry over 10 years ago. I think it's the
Yeah,
same thing going on right now in the craft beer industry, because it's hard to understand like how hospitality business can just go online and make sales online and all that stuff. Matter of fact, yes, you can grow, like I said before, new stream of revenue through online sales, but at the same way, your presence on social media is going to be a huge factor for how much foot traffic you're going to see in your brewery, you know.
for sure.
And
Yeah, that
like
is the new wave. That is for sure the new wave. I mean, again, in the creative world, that's how designers, motion designers get found and hired, and that's all in the social world is post some motion graphics render that you made, post a little video edit that you made, and sort of build a following for yourself like that. And it's huge. Yeah, you ain't got online sales without online followers. And Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, that's the way to get online followers. Absolutely.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right, man. And like I said, turn people into foot traffic and paying customers. And like you said, this is in case we don't go to a second lockdown or whatever happens, because this year
Yeah,
this is
pretend like it happened.
this is the year of Jumanji, man. It's crazy. But
Hold
anyway, pretending that everything goes that way is still gonna be strong. And worst case scenario, like shit goes south again. I mean, you still guys need to be prepared for whatever is coming because
virtual videos COVID proof. Motion graphics are COVID proof. I can sit in my house, with my 1 month old daughter and, have a client in Missouri who needs, some online brand animations and make those and never have to see anybody and never have to, breathe anyone else's air. It's completely virtualized and that's the future.
yeah, absolutely. You're right. I'm having some of the clients that I work with. They're not even here in Dallas. They're different states, and we do everything remotely, and everything works fine. So I think that's where we're heading. So you guys need to pay attention to what's coming because social media, your digital marketing is going to be and your video content is going to be a huge part of your efforts to generate more sales and grow your business, or make it bulletproof during pandemics. you know Anyway, man, we've been here for almost an hour. I have only two more questions for you, okay? And
Sure.
then we wrap this up. The first one, where people can find you in social media, your information, because if somebody wants to reach out to you after watching this, they can immediately
Sure.
reach out to you and talk to you about more about your video content creation, and not only that, about your entire company and the things that you do.
We are full pour media on pretty much every social channel. We're not on TikTok, but we're mostly active on Facebook and Instagram. So those are where we're at. Full pour media, like a full pour of beer or liquor. I'm Bryant at fullpourmedia.com. I'll post that in the comments as well. And yeah, anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm happy just to talk shop or uh, right now I'm just interested in meeting like-minded, people. And I'm not out here to sell anybody on anything. I enjoy this community a hell of a lot. And so yeah, it's Bryant at fullpourmedia.com. We are at Full Pour Media on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Thanks, man. I think I'm the same page as you, man. I just enjoy this industry and the people and everything going on. And I love it. I'm really passionate about it. But I'm glad that you were very open during this time, man, and share a lot of good information. And I'm glad that we got to talk a little bit about some of the things that not many people is willing to talk right now in the industry when it comes to solving problems, and just be real with what's going on out there and what needs to happen if you want to become successful. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us during this hour, man. And now the last question, if there's anything or one more or a last piece of advice that you would like to share with this audience, something that you would like to share to encourage the people, the brewery owners for the next 6 months, because again, man, next week we start the second half of the year, man. And I don't know what Jumanji level 7 is going to bring, but for sure it is that there's an opportunity to grow and finish the year in a different way. So what will be that last piece of advice you will have for people watching or listening to this?
Yeah, last piece of advice. Reach out. Reach out to me. Like I said, I'm not here to necessarily push any agenda or sell anybody on anything. Anyone needs help with kind of trying to brainstorm ideas or strategize, what have you, about video, or if I can connect you with someone else that I know, in the creative world, marketing world, etc. Don't be a stranger. Breweries talk to other breweries because they make each other stronger, and I'm here to do that too. I went to, I attended a COVID online assembly of breweries, and everybody was, scared shitless, right when everything was happening. And it's, people hold each other up. And I saw that a ton once this happened. And should anything else hit the fan, I'm here as well. We're all here to help and see everybody thrive. We don't want anyone to go out of business. So definitely reach out, make yourself known, get it out, get any issues, ideas out there in the light, and I'm down to brainstorm,
Wow. Thanks, man. Really appreciate you sharing that, because just to add a little bit more to that, I love that you're saying that you're not here to sell something, but we're here to help too, and
right.
like you, like me, and like any brewery owner, I believe that we all have something of value to give to the industry, and the breweries to give to the world, because you cannot buy beer, but you cannot buy happiness, but you can buy beer, which is pretty much the same.
Pretty close.
So, and the goal is to reach more people with that. If you know that you have a good product and a good service, you have the moral obligation to sell your product and service, because you know that it's with the purpose to help others. And I think you, as many other people that have been in this show, are doing what you guys are doing because you have a passion to serve this industry, and you guys only want to help. So keep that in mind, guys. And thank you, man, for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. This hour has been fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this has been a ton of fun.
Yeah, man. And hopefully we can grab a beer soon in Denver. I can't wait to go back to Denver, man. It's been a couple of years that I haven't been there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get some of our friends together and make it happen.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And for you guys listening, if you enjoy the show, make sure you share it with somebody, put it on social media, send in a DM, a text message, email, whatever you can do to help spread the word. And also make sure you leave us a review on iTunes or subscribe to the YouTube channel so more people can find the show and get access to all this valuable information. And lastly, if you're ready to grow your sales and take your brewery to the next level, make sure you head to onlinemenu.marketingbrewingco.com and watch the free video that we have put for you together so you can learn how you can grow your sales online. And I will see you guys for the next episode. In the meantime, be safe, keep working hard, and cheers. Later. Hey guys, thank you for watching. This show was brought to you by the Marketing Brewing Company, an industry-leading marketing provider and coaching firm. If this episode have provided with valuable information for you and your business, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you know somebody who needs to hear this, share it with them. Send me a text message, a DM, put it on social media, whatever you can do to spread the word. And lastly, if you're a brewery owner ready to take your business to the next level, make sure you head to marketingbrewingco.com and fill out the form to get started and get your free assessment of your current marketing and sales strategies. I will see you guys for the next episode. In the meantime, cheers.